Welcome to the basement.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Basement Boys podcast. Chris Gray, Devin Mitchell, your boys tired as shit. We gonna get through it though.
What to do, y'all?
And let's just jump into it. Starting off, biggest fight of the year,
Ding ding.
possibly biggest heavyweight fight of all time, happening tomorrow as of this recording. Probably tonight as of when we post it. But yeah, DC versus Stipe. DC
Trilogy
Daniel
right here, right?
Cormier. What?
It's a trilogy, right?
Oh yeah, shouldn't be though. We'll get into that. But yeah, biggest heavyweight fight of all time, trilogy, rubber match. Stipe coming off the win, coming in with the championship. This is the first time either of them have fought since that fight.
Since the championship fight, or since since TPA became champion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, regained his championship. He was the champion before DC knocked him the fuck out. Yeah, and I'm super excited. The whole card is absolutely great. We have... Hold on, let me bring up the full card real quick. But just off the top of my head, I know we have Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Vera. Going to be a great fight. Sean O'Malley looking like a killer. Junior Dos Santos versus Jairzinho Rosenstruik. Biggie boy. Sleeper on the card that I feel like no one's talking about. Herbert Burns versus Daniel Pineda. Daniel Pineda's been around for a while. Absolute killer. I think he's won his last 6.
Ooh.
And then Herbert Burns, brother of Gilbert Burns, the one who was supposed to fight Kamaru Usman on Fight Island, but ended up getting the COVID, leaving Jorge Masvidal to get in there. Both of these guys are on an absolute tear right now. And then you got John Dotson versus Merab Davashili. I don't know how I pronounced his name right, but I'm pretty sure I did.
Better than I would.
And yeah, just an all-around great card. John Dotson, we'll just start from the bottom up. John Dotson versus Davashili. John Dotson's been slowing down a little bit the last couple, year or two or so. Great fighter, all-around great guy from all accounts, but this feels like one of those fights where the UFC made it for Davashili to kind of make his name a little bit off of John Dotson's already established name.
Kind of put him over.
Yeah. Just personally to me from the outside, just he hasn't really looked the same in his last couple fights. Just like a little half step slower than he used to be. Just not that he still wouldn't kill 90% of that division, but I don't know if he is at the top like he was anymore, which is sad because he really was and still is such a great fighter. Like I said, Herbert Burns versus Daniel Pineda, sleeper fight on the card. Yeah, just Herbert Burns, like his brother Gilbert, has been on a tear. I think he's a Contender Series guy. And just working his way up through the ranks. Daniel Pineda, been around for a while. Like I said, I think won his last 6, maybe. I'm pretty sure, not 100%. But just an absolute sleeper of a fight, and I can't wait for that one. Junior Dos Santos versus Jairzinho Rosenstruik. I do not remember what Junior Dos Santos' last fight was, but I know Jairzinho Rosenstruik, he's coming off his first loss of his career versus Francis Ngannou. Francis just blew right through him and just really proved that he's the type of guy that, yeah, you might have better striking than him, and Jairzinho Rosenstruik does. He, his kickboxing credentials are second to none, moves great, does whatever, but really proved that you cannot move back on the center line on Francis Ngannou, or you're gonna get caught.
By
'Cause
the
he
way,
doesn't-
I was gonna say Dos Santos' last fight was Blades.
Oh yeah, forgot about that.
Sorry.
No, you're all good. Yeah, Jairzinho, like I was saying, you can't move back on the center line on Francis Ngannou, and he really proved that. It doesn't matter how good your striking is, how good you think you are. Just a glancing shot from that guy is gonna put you to sleep, and it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's almost scarier than like Deontay Wilder in boxing to me.
Oh. Oh,
And
damn.
that is very much saying something. But I really think that's a good matchup. They're both super hard hitters. Both like the strike. Junior Dos Santos, great boxer. Jairzinho Rozenstruik, kickboxing extraordinaire. Then we got the Sugar Show taking on Chito Vera. There's a lot more heat on this fight, I feel like, than I thought there was. I guess they've been going back and forth for like a year or so. Sean O'Malley saying that the UFC finally made Cheeto take the fight. I don't know how necessarily true that is, but yeah, both young guys. Even though Marlon Vera's been around for a little bit. Yeah, just it's the classic what people think of as the striker versus grappler matchup. I feel like, but Sean O'Malley is no slouch on the ground. If you've been seeing some of his, like when he was out for his suspension, he was really focusing hard on that. He did a couple like grappling tournaments. He did like that UFC versus Strikeforce versus Pride, whatever grappling match, and he really showed off. He did. I'm trying to remember who it was, but he did this crazy pass to take. Fuck. Was it Shinya Aoki? No. Maybe? I don't remember. But basically, he was coming up. Guy was grounded. I guess trying to pull guard or something. Didn't work out. Guy was on the ground trying to get O'Malley to engage. And he straight up, as the guy went for the leg, just stepped over him right onto his back. It was so just fluid and beautiful, and I really think people are sleeping on his ground game. And this is a fight, if we're going to see it, we will probably see it. And then you got Miocic versus Cormier. So excited for this fight. So excited. It's the fight for the greatest heavyweight of all time. And like, I know people are going to say, oh, what about Fedor? What about blah, blah, blah? What about whoever? You're wrong. You're wrong. Even prime Fedor is not beating these guys, and I truly, honestly believe that. Just like in any other sport, the game evolves as you go. Especially fighting, because it is, especially mixed martial arts fighting, I should say, because it's such a young sport. I think it's only been around for I think it started in 93. So it started when I was about fucking 2 months old.
Damn, I'm older than mixed martial arts fighting.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, kind of. The UFC started in 93. They still had like pancrase and stuff, but they had weird rules and but the UFC in general has only been around for 27 years. MMA, like as we know it, maybe 30. So it's just growing all the time, and they just do things differently than some of these older guys because they've had these older guys to look back on and see what works, see what doesn't, blah, and keep it moving.
Right.
So this is for sure for the greatest heavyweight of all time. You cannot convince me otherwise. If I had to give picks, starting from the bottom, I'm gonna take. I don't know the betting lines right now, so I'm not a big gambler like that. So I'm not gonna tell you, oh, get this guy because he's minus whatever. Yeah, I don't know all that. But if I had to guess who is going to win the fight, for John Dodson versus Davashili, I'm taking Davashili. It just kind of feels like one of those fights where they're building their name off the older guy. And I feel like John Dodson hasn't been the same in the last couple fights. Pineda versus Burns. I don't know if I'm just buying into the hype of him and his brother, but I'm definitely taking Burns on that one. They've just looked so good. But this is his real first big test, so that's probably the one I'm iffiest on. Junior Dos Santos versus Biggie Boy, Jairzinho Rozenstruik. I love his nickname. It's just
That
so
might
fun.
be one of the greatest nicknames.
It's just so
of all
fun to
time.
say Biggie Boy. It just is. I can't say anything else. But
Yeah, Wendy's, jump on that. Let's get a sponsorship going.
But yeah, I'm definitely taking Rozenstruik in that one. He's only lost to Ngannou, which I'm pretty sure Junior Dos Santos has also lost to Ngannou. Ngannou's not an easy out for anyone, but it feels like another type of changing of the guard fight. Junior Dos Santos has been at this for a long time. He's taken some gnarly knockouts, and I feel like it's just coming closer to the end of his career, where Rozenstruik, I feel like, is in this up-and-coming new wave, and just Junior Dos Santos has great boxing, but I feel like Rozenstruik is just more of a complete striker. If Junior decides to take it to the ground, which I believe he can, we might see some things in Rozenstruik's game, good or bad, that we haven't seen before, but I'm not sure that's exactly what they would do. And I'm definitely picking Rozenstruik in that one.
Regardless if it goes ground or not.
I don't know, I haven't really seen Rozenstruik on the ground like that, so I don't know what he has there.
Gotcha.
But I'm still going to take Rozenstruik. Like I said, it just feels kind of like a changing of the guard fight. Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Vera. I think this is a closer fight than a lot of people is. I think this is going to be a tough fight for O'Malley, but I think O'Malley takes it. He's just got so much momentum behind him. And the things he does with his striking are crazy. He throws, he's so unorthodox, but in an orthodox way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he'll throw combinations where I'm like, how did you come up with that? How did you pull that off? But at the same time, it's technically perfect.
Right.
Like, he does it right, but it's just a crazy combination. He really just lets it flow. He lets it rock. As you saw with the Eddie Wineland fight, just setting up that hand beautifully and just sending it. And he did that twice. He did it right before the knockout already. He just, on the second one, he caught him right on the button, put him out. And then Stipe DC, I'm going DC all day on this. That might be a little bias on my part because DC is definitely my favorite fighter. He's a great fighter. He comes off as a really good dude, but he's also not afraid to talk a little shit with you, and it's fun. And if it wasn't for John Jones, would probably be the best fighter in the UFC. And Stipe likes to talk about how the first fight is, the guy won the lottery. He caught me right on the button. I've been hit way harder. I know this is kind of a hot take, but Stipe, I think you won the lottery in the last fight. You were getting beat up for the first 2 rounds. Daniel was starting to get a little tired. He's talked about how he hurt his back before that fight, so wasn't able to do as much of the cardio as he wanted. So I've never seen DC get tired like that before in a fight. And you found the body shot. He didn't have the answer at the time, but DC has the highest fight IQ of anyone, I feel like, except for maybe Dominic Cruz, but I still think DC has it. I just think the adjustments, and don't get me wrong, Stipe made some great adjustments in the second fight, but I think Daniel's adjustments will be bigger. And I don't see a way, unless it's some type of like flash knockout, like kind of what happened in the last fight. I don't see a way Daniel loses it. He was bullying him in the second fight. That first and second round, he was absolutely bullying him. And like in the third round, he came back and he was making some good moves, but I don't see that happening again. I feel like DC kind of started feeling himself a little bit in that second fight, and was just kind of almost like toying with him, like looking for. I don't want to say looking for like the flashy knockout, but trying to put on a show a little more.
Kind of got off of his game plan a little.
Yeah, and that's just not the way DC fights. So,
this is also DC's last fight, right? He's retiring after this match.
He says that.
So
he's also said he was going to be out by 40, and I think he's 41 now. So yeah, he's 41.
So I was going to say though, like, because we all know I'm not a big UFC guy, but with him potentially going out, I heard him say, you know, he wants to be like Peyton Manning right off into sunset, be like MJ and win the 6th championship and right off into the sunset. And his words, not mine. He doesn't count those years with the Wizards. But
no one counts
I feel like
years with the Wizards.
Not even Wizards fans count those years. But I'm thinking, with that added motivation to be able to walk out and be, the GOAT of the heavyweight division with the title around your waist, like, I feel like you got to factor in that edge too. So I don't feel like you're being completely biased.
He even said, in the press conference that happened last night, he was even saying, like, you got to be comfortable with going out on top, because you get this fight, you beat the guy, you become the champion, like you like a big fight like this, and you end up winning. You're just like, I'm still the best in the world. I can still do this. You have to be comfortable with going out as the best in the world. Mm-hmm. But when Uncle Dana backs up the Brinks truck for this John Jones fight at heavyweight, I think Daniel wants his redemption against John Jones. Anyone would. You can't blame the guy for wanting that. And I want it for him, if we're being honest. But
mm-hmm.
I just think Dana's gonna throw crazy money at him. Everyone's been talking about John Jones moving up to try to become a champ. And I'm sure it sticks in his side that DC did it before him, because he was the first ever light heavyweight champ, and that's the baddest man on the planet.
Right.
Honestly, if Stipe wins too, I think he gets the John Jones fight. I think whoever wins this just fights John Jones. But I really think they're going to back up the money, his competitive nature in wanting to avenge that at heavyweight, where he's not cutting all the weight and diminishing himself by trying to make 205.
Mm-hmm. God damn.
Yeah.
It's like, what, 40 pounds? I think he would have to cut 35, 40 pounds.
Yeah, but he he'd come in a lot lighter. Like he's not really like dieting like he would at 205 here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure he's like fueling his body with good fuel, as they say, blah 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 blah. But to make 205, that man probably ate boiled chicken and rice for fucking 5 years straight.
Whew. Goddamn.
And the thing is, he's just like, according to the metrics they have here, I think he's a little taller than this, but they say he's 5'9". Like, he could be lighter, but it's just not his body style. If you look at DC, he's just a short, stocky guy, and he does have trouble making that weight. So at heavyweight, I think it might give him the edge he needs against John. I don't know that for sure, because John Jones is John Jones. Even though John Jones has looked like he's lost a little bit of a step himself with just how... Just, you have to remember, he became champion at 21, I believe. He's the youngest UFC champion ever. And he's pretty much, other than it being taken away from him because he's just fucks up all the time, I think he's maybe fought one non-title fight in that whole time, and I'm not even sure if that's the case. I can't think of one off the top of my head right now. But yeah, I think since 21, all he's fought for is titles.
Damn.
And he's won them all. He's only lost one fight in his career, and that's because he was elbowing the guy in the face just at the wrong angle, according to the ref, which is the dumbest thing ever. The 12-6 elbow rule is fucking ridiculous.
That sounds like a load of bullshit.
Okay, basically what the 12-6 elbow is, for people who don't know, is I can elbow you in the face like this, which is way harder. I can elbow you in the face like this at slightly of an angle, but I can't go up to down. Because the commissions back in the day saw those videos of like those like kung fu guys breaking those blocks of ice with their elbow and said, oh no, we can't have that. When they don't understand that when you see things like that, it looks cool, it sounds cool. Like, you see people punching through concrete, you see people punching through ice or boards or whatever. You have to understand, that's not actual concrete. It might be concrete, but it's made to be weak in the middle so you can do that. I don't care who you are. I don't care how hard you punch. You're not punching through solid fucking concrete. You're not punching through solid fucking ice. You're not elbowing through that shit. It is made to be broken.
Right.
Sorry, I fucking hate the 12-6 elbow rule.
It's okay.
But, yeah, so I honestly believe whoever wins this fight fights John Jones. But it's going to be a hell of a card. Tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Check it out. Yeah, and that's pretty much all I got as far as fights go. So we can
Ding ding.
we can move that right along. But speaking of fights, though, fucking the Greek freak Giannis Antetokounmpo fucking said, nah, fuck Mo Wagner. I'm putting my fucking face in your face. Headbutted the shit out of him. 1-game suspension. Basically just ends out the season for them, like their little play-in tournament.
I mean, they already had the number 1 seed secured, so was it even really a big deal that, like, he's missing 1 game? Like, there's a good chance he wasn't even going to play in last night's game against Memphis.
Yeah, but they have to... They're not keeping him out of the playoffs. They're not going to lose one of their biggest stars as they move in to the point where they're going to get even more ratings than they have been because they're one of the only things out there to watch right now.
Right.
But they had to make it look like they were doing something. I mean, he did. He headbutted that guy right in the fucking face.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Listen, you don't need forensic scientists to study this film. It's pretty clear. It's clear as day.
Yeah, I'm watching it right now. I mean, Mo Wagner definitely plays it up a little bit. I don't think he was trying to headbutt him. I think he was just trying to go head to head and talk his shit.
Yep.
But Mo Wagner was just like, "Oh, touch me." I want to. But
Mo Wagner page out the LeBron James floppy playbook.
But to be fair, it also looked like he came in a little harder than he thought he was gonna. So, you know. But I think the 1-game suspension is okay. Like I don't hate the decision.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, like we said, they already clinched the number 1 seed. They don't really need him. Yeah, you kind of want guys to keep in a little bit of a flow, especially going into the playoffs, but it is what it is.
I think Giannis will be fine going into the playoffs. Like, this one game was not, I feel like it won't affect him. He's still going to come out, game 1 against the Magic, being the Greek freak that he is, and destroy them.
And while we're talking about Giannis, I just want to say this right now. Knicks fans, I'm one of you. Devin's one of you. We feel your pain. We're not getting
We're
Giannis.
not getting Giannis.
Shut the fuck up. People out here
I'm
trying
sorry,
to
there's
say,
no way.
Jason Kidd instead of Thibodeau, so we could get Giannis.
No!
Giannis was not coming here. Shut up. I'm over it.
Listen, this is the LeBron James talk back in 2010 when he first left Miami. Cleveland. Everyone was saying, "Oh, he's coming to the Knicks. He's coming to the Knicks." Nah, man, he ain't coming to the Knicks. Knicks don't got nothing for him. At the time he was already the biggest name in the league, already getting multi-million dollars from all endorsements, already loved worldwide. Back then, there was nothing for the Knicks. Fast forward 10 years later, Giannis, almost same thing. One of the biggest names in the league. Everyone loves him. Boy ain't coming to New York because we got nothing. We got no supporting cast. Like, he's got a better chance of winning championships with the Bucks than the Knicks. Like, there's just no way it's happening right now. Knicks fans, let's just rebuild our team, get ready for the future, and maybe once these guys retire, we might be respectable at best.
There's still even Knicks fans saying that LeBron's going to come here after his Lakers contract is up.
God damn it, no.
Yeah, right? Oh,
My
fucking
God, no, he's not coming to the Knicks. There's no reason for him to come to the Knicks. He's got the production company out west. He's got his family out west. He's got Brownie out west. Like, there's no reason for him to come to the Knicks. Like, I'm sorry. Would I love to see LeBron in the Knicks uniform? Yes. But there's no way in hell he's coming to the Knicks. He spent a couple years with a bad team, built them up, left, came back, won a championship for the land. Then he went out west. That's it. He's staying out west. He's done. He's not coming to the Knicks.
He's not trying to bring another dog shit team and trying to do all that work to bring him back for a championship. I'm sorry. Because look at Cleveland after he left. Dog shit.
I'm sorry. I don't know where that rank came from, but oh my God.
Oh. As a Knicks fan, having a podcast with another Knicks fan, I fucking hate Knicks fans.
We're the worst.
Well, we're not.
No.
I bought into the KD Kyrie thing a little bit. I thought there was some truth to that.
Fucking
But-
Nets.
Yeah.
Being our little brothers and getting all the good shit now.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't have that best of a season either. And after that Achilles tear, who knows what Durant's going to be. I mean, I'm sure he's still going to be good. He's Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
But an Achilles tear is something that can really hamper your movement for the rest of your life.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's Kevin Durant, so I'm sure he has access to the best of the best as far as physical therapy and rehab and blah, blah, blah. And look what Alex Smith did after removing the whole front half of his fucking leg. So I definitely believe KD can do it. Like, I'm not saying he can't, but it's yet to be seen.
Right. But yo, speaking about the NBA bubble, you know who's been going on a tear in that league, in that bubble?
Who's that?
Damian Lillard.
Oh, fucking yes. 102 points in 2 games. 2.
Yo, he is legit putting the league on notice and saying, look at me, motherfuckers. Look what I'm doing.
And he straight up said, fuck Paul George. Put some respect on my name. All right?
Fuck Paul George. Fuck Patrick Beverly. Fuck Skip Bayless. Like, he don't care anymore.
Damon has been going off. And I think the Phoenix Suns are 8-0 in the bubble now.
Yep. Unfortunately, they are eliminated, but the fact that they went 8-0 beat some pretty damn good teams along the way and just missed out on the playoffs.
I saw some form of statistic on ESPN. There was a 0.0329% chance that the Phoenix Suns were going to go 8-0 in the bubble.
So you're saying there was a chance.
Exactly. That was their mentality, and they went right after it.
And we also got to acknowledge the fact that for the first time in 22 years, the San Antonio Spurs are not going to the playoffs.
22 years. That's actually crazy.
Yeah. Like, I was looking around the interwebs, and they were like, 22 years ago, Spurs didn't make the playoffs. What was hot back then? You had Titanic in theaters, Men in Black in theaters. Mike Myers had just created Austin Powers. Like,
I
Yo.
was 5.
yo, some of these dudes in the league weren't even born yet. Like, Zion wasn't even born yet.
Right? That's... Oh, my God. Things like that make me feel old as fuck.
I think my sister is as old as the Spurs playoff run.
I used to... You have a 22-year-old sister?
Yeah. I also got a 25-year-old sister.
What the fuck, Dev? How did I not know this?
It's never come up.
Okay. Learning things every day. We learn about each other. This is how the podcast grows, people. All right. And all you motherfuckers on the internet now, no, I was not asking that to try to fucking holler at Devin's sister. Get the fuck out of here, all right? I'm a good friend.
Not happening. No offense.
I would absolutely fucking never. But I just know I'm gonna get that from somebody because people are fucking assholes.
Dude, we respect bro code too much.
Way too much. Anyway, moving along. I'm sorry, I just took a left fucking turn. Move on, talk a little baseball. Yankees coming back down to earth a little bit. Had to expect it. Couldn't go on that tear forever. And they always have been, and it feels like they always will be. And for some reason, they've always been Garrett Cole's kryptonite too, because he's still yet to notch a win on them. Still first in the AL East though. On a little bit of a slide, 5-5 in the last 10. Have won all the home games though, so that's still even as far as wins with the Rays, who are the next team back, but have 2 less losses than the Rays because we had those postponed games. Yeah, coming back down to earth a little bit. Judge dealing with lower body stiffness, which can be read in a very, very wrong way. But I'm going out on a limb here, and I say I don't think it's that type of lower body stiffness that's keeping Aaron Judge out of the lineup at the moment. Um, Gary Sanchez is bad, still not doing great. DJ LeMahieu on a tear though, and Gleyber Torres showing some worry with him. But all in all, I think we're in a good place. Starting pitching, as always, is the problem. A little less of a problem. We got Derek Cole, and everyone's selling right now on James Paxton. I think he'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
He's too good of a pitcher not to. But it's definitely their biggest problem. Tanaka's also having a little trouble right now, but he always gives up some early home runs. And he just got beamed in the fucking face by Giancarlo Stanton, so that can't be helping at the
Right.
very least.
He's still shaking the effects of that off, probably. But
I'm not saying that's definitely part of it, but it definitely doesn't help.
right. I mean, I feel like right now everything is just going to be highlighted just because it's a shortened season. So normally, a player like Aaron Judge missing, what's it been like 2-3 games in a normal season because of lower body stiffness isn't going to be like that big of a story. But 2-3 games here, that's a good chunk of the season already. And we know that he has been injury prone in the last couple of years, so I'm sure he's fine, and it's more precautionary to save him for the whole season and for later on. But it is something to like kind of raise a little flag. Be like, we might have to acknowledge this at some point.
That's a thing that worries me about this little slide they're on. Is it's only a 60-game season. We are already a third of the way through the season, basically,
Which
depending
is
on
crazy.
depending on which team you're on. So they don't have much time to make it come back around. Not that they're in bad straits in any way, shape, or form. It is very nice for me though to see the Red Sox right there at the bottom of the AL East, 6-13.
Just crumbling.
I mean, you let possibly one of the best, if not the best player on your team, definitely on your team, and possibly in the league, walk in Mookie Betts, who's been on an absolute fucking tear.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think was going to happen? They had to fire their GM. Who'd they fire with the cheating scandal?
I think
The guy from the Astros. I can't think of his name right now.
Alex Cora.
Yeah.
He was their manager.
Yeah. But yeah, baseball's getting a little more interesting. I really thought the Yankees were going to run away with this year because they
Still might.
finally seem to have their starting pitching out. But hopefully it's just a rocky start and we will get back around to it.
Yeah, I mean, we all saw last year what happened with all them baby Yankees, coming up from the minors, next man up mentality, and DJ LeMahieu just saying, "Hold my beer, I got this."
Another one of
They'll
those
be
Cashman moves that was kind of slept on when it happened, but has turned out to be one of the best moves he could have made.
Oh yeah, I mean, the ultimate utility player can play second, short, third, even first base. I think even a little bit of left field, and can hit the hell out of the ball.
Yeah, he's averaging like 436 right now, somewhere around there.
Some ridiculous number.
All right. Moving on from baseball. Sure.
Yep.
Do that. Where do you want to go from here, Dev? We got options.
Well, let's talk about the Washington football team. And for once, it's not about a bad move or them disgracing themselves as a franchise and an organization. They made the right move and came out recently. Darius Geis had several instances where he was he was arrested for domestic violence. I think it was like 3 in the last year. and the Washington football team came right out, cut his ass, which is good because in the past they probably would have been like, oh well, we'll handle this internally, and if there was a football season, you would have seen him suited up, ready to play, like nothing would have happened.
Yeah, good on them. Obviously, any type of domestic violence is something that should not, cannot, will not be stood for, especially in this day and age. It does feel like this is a face-saving move from them because they've just been so deep in the how do I word this? They've just been so deep in controversy for the last few years now.
Oh yeah.
From the name, which they've been holding off, and then that Washington Post piece where they got exposed and had to fire half their staff and their longtime announcer and blah 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 blah. They needed something to make it look like, hey, whatever culture was here, whatever wrong things we've been doing, we're changing it now. We're taking things seriously and we're getting it done. Again, like you said, I'm not entirely convinced that if none of this came out, if no one cared about the team name, if they'd be doing this, or they'd be like, we'll wait for the investigation. We'll let the NFL do an investigation and we'll go from there.
Right.
It does seem like this was an opportunity for them to save face in a season where they're probably not going to do much to begin with. And they took it.
Yeah.
Especially in a season where you don't even know if it's really going to happen.
Mm-hmm. And good on them. I imagine this was definitely a Ron Rivera move too, because he's come in and he has stated that culture change in Washington, getting all the bad, the negative, trying to get all that out and bring respect to this football team. And I feel like this is something he would definitely have done.
Yeah, he's the only guy through all of this who has come out squeaky clean. He's looked good through all of this because he's made the right moves through all of it.
Mm-hmm.
And at least in his regime, all the crazy things that they were talking about in the Washington Post article, I don't think would fly by a guy with Ron Rivera. If he saw it, he'd calling it out. He's saying this, that, or the third. Like, if the guys were doing it while he was there, they weren't doing it anywhere near him.
Right. I mean, one of the first stories I heard about him coming to Washington, he went to, I guess, the locker room or where all the players hang out, and he saw a ping pong table, and the first thing he says is, "Ping pong table, out of here.
Get it out.
It's all business over here."
I mean, you don't have to. You don't have to hate on ping pong. Ping pong's fun.
I mean, it is fun, but when you're trying to rebuild a team and make it respectable, you don't get to have fun. Ping pong's for champions and winners.
Fair. I like that assessment. Hot take of the day. Fuck you and your ping pong. Win a game first, all right? And just like that, back with the wardrobe change, trying to change it up for you guys. It's not that we just ran into timing issues and are recording this on another day. Who would do that? That's crazy. Anyway, Dev.
Yeah.
Why don't you explain to me how if you a big ass dude wearing football pads, blocking on the edge, and maybe going and catching some shit, how you're getting paid big money.
Yo, first and foremost, I don't know where some of these teams are getting this kind of money, but let's take it out to Kansas City, where they literally, I don't know if Pat Mahomes is like subletting the Kansas City Royals to pay for his number one tight end Travis Kelce, because that dude just got paid. He just signed a 5-year extension. I'm sorry, a 4-year extension at $57.25 million. Whew! Oh my goodness, that's some game-changing money right there. By the way, that deal includes $28 million. Ridiculous amount of money for that.
Just, yeah. The whole narrative for the last couple of years now is just, when Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce both need to get paid, one of them's going to have to leave. They're definitely going to get rid of Kelce because you got to have the quarterback, blah, 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 blah. The Chiefs made it happen, man. That's absolutely insane. No one does this. No one keeps their core intact when everyone's up to get paid.
Mm-hmm.
And like the old saying goes, when you win, there's money enough for everyone. It's just usually not on the same team.
Right. And I want to meet this CFO, and I personally want to see the books because I want to see how the hell they're making this happen. Because they were already strapped for cash going in to the offseason, and you're coming out with big payday for Mahomes, big payday for Kittle. Tyreek Hill's coming up, like, he gonna get that big payday too? Like, what you doing, KC? What's going on down there?
It's not Kittle. Come on, man. This ain't the 49ers.
Oh, shit. I'm sorry. That's
Someone
where the
else who
next
got
topic was
fucking
going.
Paid.
My man, George Kittle, getting paid. Not to be outdone, but George Kittle of the San Francisco 49ers is now the highest paid tight end in NFL history. Kittle and the Niners have agreed to a 5-year, $75 million contract. And apparently he's getting $40 million for guaranteed for injury and $30 million guaranteed at signing. Holy crap.
Yeah, it pays to be a tight end in the NFL nowadays.
Right? I mean, let's be real. These tight ends are becoming bigger, stronger, more agile. They're not your typical just get out, block for the running back, and then maybe catch 5-yard crossing routes. You got these guys, they'll take it to the house for 60 yards, bulldoze a couple people, and then go out and party afterwards.
Yeah, right? Kittle's becoming the new Gronk a little bit.
A little bit.
Just wild and crazy on the field. You hear some of the stories of him off the field, just having a good old time. Everyone just kind of likes him.
Yeah. We've heard stories of him popping up with WWE events, just sitting in the front row, having a couple beers. He did cut that one press conference short because he had to go catch whatever pay-per-view they were filming out in Santa Clara. He's just a good dude, and I want to party with him.
Yeah, right? He seems like a good time. And then, just back to the Chiefs for a second, the reason they're getting all this done is all these deals are super backloaded from what it seems.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the first 4 years, Patrick Mahomes isn't hitting the top 50 paid players or something in the league. So that's how they're getting it done. They're just backloading these deals saying, hey, you're going to make more money this year than you've been making. And then we guarantee you so-and-so amount of money. And as long as you stay on the team, you stay good. And most of these players are willing to bet on themselves like that. When you're that good of a player, you're that's just kind of comes with the territory.
Mm-hmm.
So they're willing to take these more backloaded deals where, yeah, they could get cut, but no one's expecting Patrick Mahomes to get cut, even in 10 years.
No.
He might not be what he was, but he's still definitely going to be a better option than almost like that whole devil you know is better than the devil you don't type.
Yeah.
But yeah, and we'll see if this is how it works out, because this could be the potential dynasty. If they can work out something with Tyreek Hill, something similar, maybe something backloaded, maybe obviously not as long as Pat Mahomes is, but just to keep that core together for another 3-4 years.
Yo, could you imagine? My goodness.
It'll be absolutely insane.
You would have to you probably have to put the Chiefs in textbooks and be like, this is how you run a franchise. Everyone take notice and go. Don't be like the Knicks.
Well, hey, this is also yet to be seen. We don't know if this is going to work out. You never know what's going to happen. People could get hurt, this, that, or the third. But it's definitely an interesting play, and it's one that, at least in the short term, seems is going to work out very well for them.
Yeah, did you hear what Kelsey bought? The first thing he bought for with his money?
What do you buy?
Kelsey loves kids, man. He bought a new building for inner city kids, teenagers, to study the STEAM curriculum and all that good stuff.
Really? That's
Yeah.
awesome.
First thing he did. Didn't buy no fancy car, didn't buy no fancy house. No. Bought a new building so that inner city kids can have a safe place to go study, try to get their education on, and get out of the inner city.
All these stories you hear about George Kittle, just each
Kelsey.
time, he just comes out looking better and better and better and better. He just seems like a really nice dude.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so it pays to be a big tight end right now.
It definitely does. All right, so we just wanted to pop back in here real quick because we wanted to talk about this story, but we ran into some scheduling issues yesterday, timing-wise, all that fun stuff. But yeah, we didn't want to leave out on this story, so that's about it for us, I think, right, Dev? Unless you got anything,
No, we had to end it on a good note. Give a little positive there.
right? Good guy Kittle, Travis Kelce getting paid, both guys who deserve it. Some good news on this show for once. Sports are back, baby. Sports are back. All right.
So excited, so pumped.
Oh, yeah. All right, guys. That should be it for us today. Episode 17, I want to say.
17.
I'm really bad with these numbers.
That's
Anyway.
okay.
We are the Basement Boys. Chris Gray, Devin Mitchell. See ya.
Cheers.
Welcome to the basement.